Louis Seneca said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. And in these times, it is indeed. Today, we have a superwoman with us with an X ray vision. She is a radiologist and she has worked more than 15 years in this sector. Welcome to Sip and Talk with Vikram, Dr. Isha Rajput.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for inviting me to your talk show. And I love to have this opportunity.
Welcome. So, Dr. Isha, you have written several books. You've written 5 books so far. And let's have a look at your latest one. And 4 of your books were on radiology. You have written so many papers on radiology. You have attended seminars and conferences and given talks. And this book is slightly different from the rest, which draws my attention and intrigue towards your work. So first of all, let me show to the audience what is your book all about. Did you survive 2020? Revisit the events of 2020, realize your role in the universe, claim your luck, and empower yourself to win over any disaster. So, this is the book you've written, Dr. Isha. And let me show where somebody can get your book from. So, there you are on Amazon.com. And I believe you are on Amazon of several countries. Am I right?
Yes, sir. That is
Yeah.
true.
So you are a doctor, you're a radiologist, then how come this book?
Great question, sir. But it was just a logical transition because I was doing a lot of my duties during the situations that we faced last year. And there were multiple occasions in which I had come up and very close to the patients, and I assessed their emotions. I could not judge them, I could not judge myself. But these were situations which, all of us come across, and I just thought that the generations to come should also know that something like this can happen. It is very real. It can happen to you, to me, to our near and dear ones around us. And when everything in the world is going around in a wrong way, there is so much of mental stress on everybody, working professionals, children, homemakers, senior citizens. How do we react? How do we come around? It is said like you always, when you face very extreme circumstances, you face difficulties, you empower them, you go around them, and then you rise like a phoenix from the ashes. But is it so simple as it is said? No, it is not. Somebody has to tell you, somebody has to give you that courage to do it again and again and again. So, this book is just a memoir of my emotions put in a fictional manner, so that whenever somebody reads it, they get to see a silver lining in the clouds. They get to realize that there is some happiness after you feel like it is dooming and it is ending. Even then, there will be something good coming out. Actually, it's just like I'm a great follower of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu always has that symbolic conch shell with him.
Yes.
So when you read books from Dr. Devdutt Patnaik, he is also a doctor by profession, and he has written several books on management and spirituality, and how the spiritual and mythological things relate to the modern management. And his books are a kind of revelation to you. So he mentions that Lord Vishnu always carries a conch shell in his hand, and that symbolizes a labyrinth. Now, what does this labyrinth tell us? Labyrinth tells us that there is a spiral. Life is a spiral.
Oh,
There are a
yeah.
lot of difficulties. Okay. So once you go around that spiral, you can either reach down and down and down, or you can learn that with each spiral of difficulty, you can again come up. With each spiral, you can learn that how to counter that difficulty when it happens next. So this book of mine is just a memoir to prep ourselves, to prep this generation, to teach the next generation that if something like this happens again, do not be hit by it, hit it back.
Oh,
So
great. That's the spirit. So, Dr. Isha, what is the role of your support system and the community strength in tiding over situations? Like you've interacted with so many people and their emotions. So, just can you bring out some thoughts on that?
Yes, not just over the past year, but I think over my total services and the profession, I have come across multiple kinds of support system. It's not just one. First and foremost is when you're working as a professional in any sector, there have to be people around you who have to welcome you. They have to allow you to realize your potential. And in that manner, I have come across very senior and very supportive mentors. And that's why I have been able to, realize my potential, my education, all that, the pearls of wisdom that I have attained. A lot of credit goes to them. The second part of the support system, which I feel is very important for a working lady, is your mate, because you see there are so many things in the house which need to be taken care of, and there are small things, but these things put together give you a lot of mental peace if the pieces of your home are at correct place. I may be a perfectionist to say that, but I don't like an untidy house, and being a mother of two, it's just next to impossible. So that is why I I always tell this to everybody that small things which you can outsource, which somebody can do for you, you must outsource, because that gives you some amount of mental peace to be at peace and concentrate at something higher, concentrate at something which you want to do.
Mm,
Your time is very valuable. The education that you've received is very valuable. So put it to use. For that, build a system around you which can help you grow. And so that is two. Third thing is, I think circle of well wishers,
mm,
friends and family, your near and dear ones, with whom you want to discuss and you want to share your happiness. If something you have achieved, you want to share your achievements. Those are the people who keep you grounded and who keep you tied to reality, so that you don't soar too high on your achievements, and you know that there are people who will back you in your bad times. And somewhere I feel, sir, that we don't attribute so much energy to our close relationships, like husband and wife, children, brother and sister. We may no not forget to wish our teachers and seniors on Happy Teachers Day, but sometimes we do miss our own sisters or brothers' birthday. So I think that is one, everyone should just sit back, take some time, and invest on your
is it
near and
because we take our family for granted most of the times?
yes. You actually, and to the point, you just reached it, because taking for granted is one thing, sir, that is not going to pay us in long time. Sometime or the other, your investments will only reap you. So the amount of time and love you invest in a relationship, that is going to come back. If you don't invest, don't expect anything in return. So that's the
Very said.
funda
Very well said.
you should
Very well said.
take up.
And you are a working woman, and there are working women around you. And do you notice there is a bias against women, or is it a thing of the past?
Should I answer it truly or falsely?
Uh, Truly, of course.
Okay. So, okay, the very logical answer should be no, no, there is no bias. There is nothing like this sticking around. But no, I feel that the only time I felt that a woman needs support during her profession is when she is pregnant or she is having children and small children, and she has to look after them. Lot of things have been done, sir, to promote this cause of females, working women at their work front. But still, there is a lot more left to do. There is always support system in the form of in-laws and creche or some place where the children can be looked after, but and in the form of leaves and things are like this. But still, there are times when, without any notice, you need to take a little leave or maybe miss a day from work because of the child's cause. And yes, it is still the mother who has to shoulder the responsibilities. So in this, all this whoredom of 21st century and the females taking a leap forward and women empowerment, something is still missing. You still have to find out uh, reasons for the males taking up the responsibility of looking after a sick child. But yes, times are much better than when my mother was working. So I hope that the things will only turn for the better.
I heard somebody talk on TED Talks. I'm missing her name, sorry, but what she was mentioning that she migrated from the Middle East to Europe because she wanted to see women fly. And what she discovered in Europe was that, yeah, women were flying, but they were flying not as women, but as men. So, what's your take on that?
Okay, now this just gives me a take a back to a quote which says that a woman is supposed to be a superpower. She
Hmm.
is supposed to think like a man, dress like a lady, look as beautiful as a young girl, and work as a horse. So that is so true. Whenever I meet somebody, I would just say that I am a working woman. What is your superpower? So, because working women are super women. In fact, all
And,
of the women
and
are
and
like
and
that.
and you are a true embodiment of all those qualities that you mentioned.
Thank you so much, sir.
Compliments to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
So
yeah.
how do you balance your work and life? There will be occasional challenges, but when it comes to work life balance, how do you balance it, and how do you tell others to do?
Well, it is balancing act is just in case of a working female. It's just like walking on that. You must have seen on those in the most of the time in village fairs or somewhere. There are
Walking on
girls
the rope?
walking on that thin rope,
Hmm.
balancing pole with the both hands spread apart. So most of the time, from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I go back to bed, I feel walking on that rope every day. There's not one day when I feel that I can relax and sit back.
So what's your typical day from morning to evening, if you would like to share?
Oh, okay, great. So, first thing first, I always believe, sir, that fitness is very important. Um, if you treat your body like a temple, you will always get people, virtue it
Worshipping
and
you.
worship it. But you should not treat it like a dustbin.
Hmm.
First, everything that is left has to go inside your mouth. That is not correct. And second thing, I always exercise in the morning as soon as I get up. So 5:30 to 6:30 is the me time in which I either hit the gym or I go for a walk or run. And then is the daily routine of getting the children up, feeding them, and then the hospital. And later part of the day is usually walks or maybe calls from the hospital or taking children for play to the playground. And yes, in the meantime, if I get some time, it my book writing, my lectures, conferences, online webinars, social work, friends and family, they take.
So, when I see so many books in your bookshelf that you have written, it doesn't look like a casual pastime hobby. It looks like a consistent, determined effort that you are putting into it. So, how do you find time for all that?
Okay. So that is one question that I've been asked so many times, that how do I do it? To be very frank, even I don't know how I do it. It's just I feel like a superpower that is helping me to the cause. What happened in 2017, sir? I had I my second. I was blessed with a second child, and I was feeling very low, mainly because I was not very healthy at that time. So, but there was a want in my inner self that I wanted to write a book for residents. To just to update you, sir, residency in medical profession is a very tough time of 3 years, wherein you are supposed to understand a lot of books, read a lot of books, understand the subject, and appear for multi-level exams.
Hmm.
But what happens if at the end of the exam or during the last sessions you fall sick? You cannot read all those books in one night, or it takes away so much of your time. So why should somebody be at loss when he or she has worked hard throughout the course? So that was one thought that was lurking in my mind for quite some time. And when my child was born, I had some time at hand. Even though I was looking after a newborn, this thought just overpowered me, and I penned down few chapters of my first book. That was 2017, Chest Radiology and Diagnostics. And after that, I published it, and after that, I never looked back. I was so happy to write that book, that I have been able to create something that is going to be useful for generations to come. All the residents are going to benefit from it, and that was a super feeling. So then I every year I wrote one book after the other, and I found my ikigai. What you
Oh,
say?
wow.
Som Batla sir always mentions this, that there is something called ikigai, wherein you want to do it, the world wants you to do it, and you also get paid for it. So I did that, and it's just an addiction now. I just can't prevent myself from writing.
You can
Whether
tell us about your other books also, like what was the next, and in line with your
okay,
professional pursuits.
yes. So I was working in the hospital, and I wrote my first chest radiology. This was followed by musculoskeletal radiology, then obstetrics and gynae radiology. And all these books were released at international and international conferences by Indian Radiological and Imaging Association presidents 2019 and 20. Dr. Hemant Patel sir and Dr. Deepak Patkar sir. Then this year I have written Cornerstones of Radiology and Diagnostics, that is based on physics for radiology residents. And I also authored a book which was a little different from my league of radiology books. That was Did You Survive 2020?
Hmm.
Because this book, I felt that even after we have lived 50 years of our life or 60 years of our life, there will be something to tell our children and grandchildren how we faced the year 2020, and how should they be thinking, that how to reflect on those times, on those trying times, what was happening around in the world. There was so much of stress, apprehension. So all that I tried to put down in that book. And after same I told you, sir, it's an addiction. So now I'm writing a book on women empowerment, Chromosome XX, Unlimited Power Unleashed.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm planning to release it in a month or two. So that is till the journey till now.
So you said there is a bias against women, and so who has the power to change it?
My mother used to tell me, sir, that everything has a price. Nothing, no free lunches in life. You have to do it to earn it. So I think the power to change any kind of bias or any kind of preferential treatment, as I would say, not a bias actually, preferential treatment, lies with the women themselves.
Yeah.
People who are climbing the ladders, reaching the top post, they have to realize that their juniors, their colleagues have so much of potential within them. Just the other day, I had given an opportunity to one of my colleagues to prepare a webinar and she aced it. She completely nailed the topic. And when I congratulated her, she said that, "Ma'am, thank you so much for considering me besides my limitations." And what was this limitation? You would be amused to know that the limitation was only the fact that she has an 8-month-old baby. That's all. There is no other limitation. So these words are coming from a well qualified doctor who still considers that having a baby is a limitation. Of course not. Motherhood is a blessing, it is a thing to be cherished and to be proud about. That thinking, that amount of conviction has to come in the ladies themselves, that just being the mother of a child does not put you behind anybody. That in fact gives you power to ace everything in life. That is, I think, sir, would be a game changer.
Yeah, that's a very brilliant thought and well put across, because I've been hearing people say that it is the patriarch who has to change, it is them who have to endorse. But now I know that it is the woman herself. She has to draw the lines and she has to speak out what she wants in life.
Absolutely.
So, besides all this, do you find any time for recreation, any hobby that you can pursue besides reading, writing, and your job?
Yes, definitely, sir. I am very fond of singing
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
a Bharatanatyam dancer. So I
Brilliant.
enjoy my time at public gatherings or friends get togethers where I do enjoy singing for them. They also have a good time. So that is what I'm following.
Well, we've been talking for a while and you look so calm and peaceful all the while. And how do you manage so much of peace in you? How do you control your anger? How do you manage everything?
Okay. So thank you so much if I'm looking calm. Oh, yes. Being a doctor, I think the first thing that we have to accept is that when the patient comes to you, they are not coming for fun. They have some trouble, they have some problem that has to be solved, and that's why they are coming to you. So the first thing that brings me to the ground is the fact that I am a doctor and I
So,
have to, even
compassion and
if I have
empathy,
some
you are
problem.
talking about.
Yes, compassion, empathy, logical reasoning, and the fact that somebody is coming to you with a problem and you're supposed to solve it. You might as well be having problems in your personal life or professional life, but while interacting with the patient is not the time to show it.
Mm.
So, just by being in this profession, I think this is the first training that all of us get is to be compassionate and calm. Only when you have an persona that you will be able to solve somebody's problems, then only the patient is going to trust you. And believe me, trust and soft skills cure a patient much before any medicine does. So that is one, sir. And second thing, yes, I do get angry. I do have my
I can't believe that.
I have my times of anger and stress. But I always think that just imagine that you are in a movie and everything is just occurring in front of you and it's going to end in some time. So if you imagine, if you can bring yourself into such a place where you feel that you are in a sanctuary and you can relax, just before reacting to any situation, calm yourself for 5 seconds. And I think that should do the trick. before I do get angry at my children, but before I raise my voice at them, I just try and do this, because once I get angry, then the words will hurt too much. So that should be the last option to take.
So while I let you take a sip of coffee, I'll talk to my viewers that I am enjoying this conversation thoroughly. I hope you too are. Do like, subscribe, and share. Do post your comments. And continuing our conversation with Dr. Isha. So, Dr. Isha, there are so many young generation around, and they are looking for purpose in life. Purposefulness, lack of purposefulness is a major concern. Career options, career choices is such a major concern. So, what is your advice to the young people of this world?
There was a time wherein being a doctor or being an engineer was the only two options that were given to children. Like, you take bio or you take maths and you become a doctor or an engineer, and that's the end of life. That's the end of white collar job. No more is it true, because in current world we have so many job options available, and online the things have just increased the opportunities so much. So I think what I would advise the younger generation is, uh, be especially in classes 10th, 11th, 12th, and those who are deciding for career options, there will always be opportunities present for you. You just have to open your eyes and go towards the right direction. Do not get derailed. Drugs, then all sorts of bad communities and bad friends. Do not get into that. Follow your parents' advice and take the right direction. So, somebody would ask me that money, education, profession, what would you choose? These are not three different things. These are all the same. If you choose correct education, you will choose correct profession and you will get money. Money does not come alone. It has its own friends. And so there's this Vishnu Namam that we always draw. It has the white periphery and the red center. The white periphery denotes actually the education and intellect of the individual, and the red center denotes the prosperity or
Good way
Lakshmi.
to look at it.
Yes, sir. And it is. This is also from Dr. Devdutt Patnaik sir's books.
Yeah, I'm a fan of his books. I've read
So,
a couple of them.
and that red line in the center that tapers towards the top. So, what does it symbolize is that when you have prosperity, if it is in a cradle of education, it is going to grow. Otherwise, it will not. So, that you should always keep in your mind, that prosperity and money is going to grow if it is in the right hands. So, while taking career choices and career decisions, the most important thing is to keep your head in the right direction. Do not get derailed by bad company. And world has so many opportunities these days. You are going to strike your ikigai.
Very well said, and such a profound advice. Thank you for being on this show, Dr. Isha. We hope to read many more good books from you in the coming times. And thank you very much for this show.
Thank you so much,
Namaste.
sir, for giving me this opportunity.